Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Home Service Hustle. I'm your host, Jonathan Bannister, and today I'm with Brianna Ford. She has broken the generational curse and is a trailblazer in the male-dominated industry. She balances her wife and mother role of three while leading and growing multiple companies. She's has over 10 years experience in the industry. She's helped a couple businesses go from 3 million to 28 million in just 3 short years, and she's helped restructure and operate a $40 million company. She's now the proud owner of All In Heating and Air in St. Tammany Parish, which is also the Slidell, Louisiana area, where she's building a family-owned, community-focused company dedicated to excellence and service. Brianna, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm super excited to be here.
Yeah. So look, we got to talk for a little bit. I know where this conversation, where I want it to go, but let's just talk about, how did you get into the business 10 years ago?
So 10 years ago, I was in college at Loyola University. I had a 6-year full ride to be a lawyer. That's what I wanted to do. And I needed a job to support my lifestyle until then. And I actually got hired by chance as a CSR at a company down in South Louisiana, making $10 an hour. I have no idea what I was going to do or how I was going to do it, because I didn't even know how to change the filter in my little apartment, let alone help people fix their air conditioners over the phone. So I started in there. I was 17 years old, going to college, working full time, and that changed pretty quickly. So within a year and a half, I was moving my way up to management. I had realized I'd grown a huge passion, so I wanted to change people's lives. And what better way to do that than through the legal system? Well, I realized I can impact, in my opinion, more people, and in a better way doing that with HVAC. I picked up on it real quick. I'm a super obsessive kind of person. So if I'm working at Subway, I'm going to make the best sandwich you ever eat in your life. Like, when I got into that industry, it just took off, and I absolutely love it. People think it's crazy because air conditioning, it's not fun and it's not girly and,
Right.
all the things. So it just took off from there. So it's been 10 years now. I still can't believe it.
So how did you go from CSR? Like, what was the path? Like, where did you go after CSR? And then obviously you've clearly moved on to, even with the other companies that you were restructuring the operational side. Like, how did that move so quickly?
So I was very dedicated, I will say, dedicated, resilient. There was no stopping me. I went from CSR, and that kind of got boring, so to say. I'd created a playbook as a CSR. I could hand it to anyone, and they'd be able to take that playbook and be the best CSR you can ask for. Then I got moved to dispatch, because then that's when we started talking about, okay, we got to send people to the area. We're going to make more money. And we learned from Nexstar that that's not the case. You don't keep them in the same neighborhood to shorten up drive time. You put the best players on the best calls. We dispatch for profits. Once I learned that, I was able to show the owner and general manager at the time the amount of money we were able to make by redesigning that process. And then after dispatch, I moved to office manager, and then it just kept on spiraling up. I was there for 4.5 years, almost 5 years. And then I wanted to move on to something bigger. So then my next launch was moving over to a company in Alabama.
So before we get into the Alabama story, on what you just said, because I want to find little nuggets that you're going to talk on, and then I'm going to get you to highlight so that we can speak to other listeners out there that go, oh, that's a problem in my company, and we need to fix that. So when it comes to the dispatching for dollars, like dispatching for profit, as you said, and how many companies, because I know a lot of our clients make this mistake, where they are looking at the logistical side of how to, like, well, this tech's already in that area, so I'll send him over there, right? And so talk about the I don't want to say the pros and cons, because I don't think there's a lot of pros to it other than you're saving on fuel. But how was that such a big game changer for y'all when y'all made that change at the company in Louisiana? And then what do you tell the people out there that are still doing it by trying to make it logistically better for them instead of the best person for that particular call?
As far as pros and cons go, do you want to save $20 on fuel, or do you want to make $20,000 instead of $200?
Yeah.
So that's really what you're looking at. And there's a lot of feelings involved typically, especially with owner operated companies where, oh, well, this is my buddy, he's been here for 10 years. Well, great, we can take care of him, but we need to put him on the calls that he's best suited on. Because are we really doing the right thing whenever we're sending a technician out to a home, or a sales guy out to a home and run an estimate and he's not closing that estimate? We're paying him to just knock on doors. It made a massive change. So the business went from 3.5 million to 10 million in less than 2 years. And I will say the number one piece of that was the dispatching for profits, because then we started taking our A players, the ones that are really good at talking to customers and converting the calls. They were increasing the average ticket because now we're putting them on priority one calls. We're putting them on the units that are 10 plus years old. We're putting them on whether that's a maintenance or a service call, it does not matter. We're making them do a full assessment of every single job. Whereas you have another technician, maybe Mr. Jerry, who is there to chit chat with the customer, have some coffee, do the little cleaning, get out of there. Oh, it'll just ride till it goes out. Well, some people don't like that. They don't want it to just ride till it goes out. I want to know, at least so I'm prepared, what's going on here. And when you put that right technician on that call, they will generate more dollars for the company, without a doubt.
I love it. Any advice on how to change that if they're currently not dispatching for profits, they are just dispatching for who's closest and who can just knock that call out? Any advice that you give for someone that's going to restructure that, and how do they kind of get started?
Yeah. So again, you have to take the feelings out of it. So we're not going to say that Jerry's the best tech just because we like Jerry. The customers love Jerry and he's a good old boy. We got
Mhm.
to look at numbers. So if you don't know your numbers, then what do you know? You're not operating your business properly. How many calls did each technician run? Was it service? Was it maintenance? How many of those calls did they convert? If they went on a maintenance call and they just did the maintenance and collected the maintenance dollars, if there were any to collect, okay, that's not a converted lead. Did they go on a maintenance call and they noticed that Mrs. Smith had a capacitor that was reading real low and it was about to go out, and let Mrs. Smith know and they converted that over to a capacitor? Or did they go to a maintenance and let the customer know about an air purifier that customer is actually struggling and they're a little bit older and they really need that air purifier in their home and they didn't even know it existed? So looking at every single job that every single technician has ran and salesmen, and looking at their conversion rate and seeing what's their percentage of closing. If I ran 10 calls, did I close 4? If so, I'm at 40%. Who has the highest percentage, and as well as look at your average ticket of those calls.
What is your You mentioned like IQ, you were talking about like, our add-on equipment and things that we could be looking at, like the capacitor and how is that reading? And is that something that can be taught to everyone?
I think
Um,
it can be taught to everyone. Are they going to use it?
right.
That's the
Okay.
determining factor. It
Okay.
can be taught to everyone.
Um, what do you say to those that, I mean, is this where you take this data and you're like, well, look, everyone's been trained on it, but only a couple of guys are taking the training and applying it that actually see the vision of how to make more money themselves and how to provide better care to the customers. The other ones, they go, I mean, I would never put that shit in my house, so I'm not going to sell it. And they may not say that out loud, but really their numbers show that they're not offering it to anyone. What do you do in those situations?
So the most common scenario when you have guys that are being trained and they're not actually putting that training to use, is you're not grading them. So in school, you're looking forward to your report card, right? Like, what do I have? Like, I'm going to work harder because I'm not coming home with a D or F. Well, when you're actually grading your employees and you're breaking it down to them and saying, hey, this is your conversion rate. Let first teach them what a conversion rate is, right? Train them in the process. What does it mean to have a good conversion rate? What are your goals for your company? What are you wanting them to strive towards? And have that meeting with them, go over that. In the beginning, you should be going over that every week, if not every couple of days, to make sure you rein them back in. And if they're seeing their conversion rate is not good and you're consistently coaching them about it and it's not increasing, now you know you have one of those guys. But I've seen more guys than not that you think are, oh, he doesn't believe in it. And he probably doesn't believe in it. But I didn't bring him in individually and say, hey, you ran 10 calls and there was only two calls that were converted. That's 20%. Like, what's going on? Like, did I not train you good enough? Like, is there something more I can do? Because sometimes I talk really quickly, and maybe you don't catch on to that as quickly, and that's okay. Let's break it down. Are you more of a visual learner? Let me make sure that I put myself down a little bit and say, hey, I'm here to help you. Because sometimes people are just scared to ask. We're in the trades, right? There's a lot of guys out here in the trades that don't even know how to read or write. And they're the best workers you're ever going to meet in your life. They will do the best installs, the best service. Like, you have to make sure that you're breaking it down to their level and seeing, did you actually train them right? Did you give them the right materials? Did you bring them back in? Do they know how they're doing? If everyone in your company does not know how they're doing as your employee, then right there you're failing. You're not doing them a service. So they're not bad. You are.
So if I had to guess, I would bet more than 85% of the companies out there do not have report cards for their employees.
At least.
Okay, at least. All right. So I wasn't wrong. You think it's probably even higher. So now, what advice do you give to these people that don't have report cards? Where do they start? What needs to be on these report cards? Like, if we're talking about, I know different roles on the accountability chart or whatever is going to have different KPIs, but let's just pick one. Let's say it's a service tech. And you're dispatching for profits, and you got to make sure, like, who are we sending to what calls? What KPIs should they have on their report cards?
So I think that the core KPI should show them their conversion rate of service versus maintenance.
Okay.
How many calls they're running, how many calls they're actually getting a repair or closing a job on. You should also have their 5-star reviews. And if you don't have a way to track that, I would highly suggest find a way to track that. Look it up online. There's many ways, because a 5-star review is just as important as a conversion. How many memberships they're selling, what's their conversion rate on memberships. Your memberships are going to keep your business going year round. We don't want to be weather driven. We want to be weather enhanced. Memberships are a huge piece of that.
Okay.
And their average ticket is a big one too. So if you want to start in the beginning where you're not looking at 25 things, because if you are, it's going to be so overwhelming. You're not even going to want to do the report card, let alone sit down and have a conversation about it.
Yeah.
If you're looking at memberships, 5-star ratings, your conversion rate, which is going to have your call count in it, and then I just missed one. Your average ticket. So average ticket, memberships, conversion rate, 5-star reviews.
Okay. Now let's pivot and talk about. I hope everyone listens to that and starts tracking that, right? I mean, like that, you're saying that's the basic, like, don't overwhelm them. Just, get those couple of things that she mentioned there. Let's pivot to Mobile. So you decided to leave South Louisiana and you went to go work for a company that was, I think you said they were 25 million, but we're losing $1 million a month when you got there. Tell us, how does that happen, and why were they losing $1 million a month before you, and you can take that into what you did to turn things around?
So they didn't, the numbers are the biggest piece, right? If you don't know your numbers, right? If you're just keeping on running business and keeping running, and you're growing and you think that's good. If you don't know your numbers, then you don't know anything. And that was the big piece is, how many employees did they have? How many employees, what were their actual job duties? Because I will say there was 15% of the employees that didn't even have job duties. They were just employees. How many jobs are you running? How many technicians do you need? Installs, so on and so forth. So for one, they were overstaffed by over 75 people. So payroll is one piece. And obviously when you grow, you're able to withhold a decent amount of people. But if you're not growing at that level, or these positions are not even needed and we're hiring them because they're family or friends, or we think that more bodies is better, we have to feed those bodies. If not, then you're draining your pocket out. So that was a big piece, making sure that the payroll was in place, making sure that they knew their numbers, the report card. Are the technicians that you have, are they actually performing? And if they're not performing, did you train them properly? Do they understand the process? Do you have a process for them to run calls? So that was a big game changer, implementing a process step by step. What do we do on a maintenance call? Step by step, what do we do on a service call? Same thing with estimates, making sure that that's handled properly, making sure we're staffed right. Everyone has a proper position that's actually needed within the company. and that they're paid right. We shouldn't have sales guys on a 6-figure salary plus paying them a 15% commission. That's crazy.
Right.
They're a salesperson. They should be able to comfortably work off commission. Our average ticket's over 10 grand. If you can't live off of that with your commission, then maybe you shouldn't be a sales guy. Really just digging down into the numbers, material costs, payroll, and as far as service numbers, conversion rate. What are you actually closing? What are you doing what you need to do with your calls or not?
So you're started out this year, y'all opened up your company. So you're only, a handful of months in business, right? So you've seen it from a smaller startup and you've seen the big boys that you've worked at. Most companies aren't sitting with 75 people more than they need on their payroll, right? So, like that's a huge company. Like the fact that they're 75 overstaffed, right? Like you can tell they had hundreds of employees. But most people probably are running pretty heavy on their overhead. And a lot of times it is staff members that is causing that. And it's like not until something bad happens, like for too long and cash flow gets real bad, do they start realizing, ooh, I waited a little too long there, or ooh, I didn't realize, So what I'm getting at here is, what advice do you have to someone to allow them right now to go figure out, am I as lean as I need to be, right? Because if cash flow's tight and demand's down right now, what should they be looking at to determine, do they have the right body count in as far as staff goes? And then if they identify that they're over, like what is their, because look, I think some people live in this, well, we'll be busy again soon, right? Or the leads are about to come in and it's like, well, I know, but if you're having a hard time making payroll, then like as a leader, you got to make some decisions. So like, what advice do you give to those people that need to identify if their overhead is out of control, and then how do they fix it?
So the number one thing when it comes to a really large company at scale, and in general, every company should have this, is I went and I did an org chart. Like what's everybody do? Where do they land here? And that in itself, there's a lot of people that I don't even know where they go. Nobody knows where they go. So that right there should question you. Okay, are they a good person? Do they have the capacity to do it? Do they want to be here? Are they a good asset to the company? Because sometimes you can make positions that are going to bring additional revenue in. But going through your organization chart and seeing, if you don't have one, make one. Where does everybody play out? Where do they fit? Where do they not fit? And looking at your actual payroll dollars that you're paying out versus the revenue that's coming in. Look, we're small. We just started 4 months ago. I have a spreadsheet. I look at our payroll percentage every single week, our material costs every week. I calculate how much revenue came in, how much did we spend on payroll, and what does that come out to our percentage. So everyone has a little bit different opinions on it. My personal opinion, what's always worked for me, is being around 20 to 25% on your direct payroll, which is going to be your field. I say 22, 25, because during the fall, it's going to be a little bit higher. And then as far as in the fall here in the South, but yeah. As far as your overhead in the office, you should always be sub 10%.
Sub 10?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
The goal is, for me personally, I always try to make sure to keep it at 30% or below. Sub 30% as a whole for your entire payroll. If you don't have it split out by direct, indirect, just take all of the payroll that you pay and divide it by the revenue that you're bringing in to see what your percentage is. And I wouldn't just go off 1 week and be like, oh my gosh, we're 60%. I need to fire everybody. Like, no, look at it at scale. Let's see, did we just have a bad week? Or is this a trend that I've been paying all this money out? So when you look at a company especially a company that's that large, and you see that the payroll is 76%, 89%, of payroll of the revenue, it's you right there. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to realize that, but you have to grind it out and get the numbers, pull all the numbers out. And then after you get your payroll dialed down, the number two biggest expense I see companies is the material costs. And it's typically not because it's all going to the jobs.
Right. Going to someone else's truck and to another job site. Mm-hmm. Okay. So let's talk about All In. So where did the brand concept come from? And let's talk about what the culture and stuff is like at your business now that you've been at some bigger companies, and some of those were PE groups. And so you've got to experience a little bit of all of it. How is All In going to be ran, and how did you take what you've learned from some of those other companies to figure out what you want to do or not want to do at your own company?
So I've always believed in this before. I push this into our business now. People first, right? If you don't take care of your people, I'm nothing without my people, my team. Even though we're smaller, we're in the process. We're just a newer startup that's growing. You still, no matter what, making sure that your people are first. As far as our branding, the branding took a long time. So that was a lot of nights and weeks and months of trying to figure it out. The hardest thing to come up with was the name. Like, I didn't want anything generic, something that was a true meaning behind me, my husband, our story, who we are as people. And All In was just the most fitting I could come up with. I absolutely love it. It's who we are as a company as a whole. The colors were funny because it took months and months to get the colors together. My husband's real upset. He's like, "You want us all wear pink? Like, there's so much pink in this." So I did some psychological research into the color patterns and what colors bring out what feelings for people and take attraction. And I did a spreadsheet of every single company within a 30 or 40-mile radius around us that has a wrap and what colors they have. And I wanted to make sure we had the complete different colors from everybody else. I want to make sure you see me no matter what, and you're always going to remember me. So that's where the color scheme came from. We have a sunset. It's pink, blue, yellow, a good bit of pink in it that really makes us stick out. I'll tell you, we have four trucks, and everywhere we go, everybody says, "Oh my gosh, we see you guys everywhere. What do y'all have, like 10 or 20 trucks?" No, it's because of the branding. You're never going to miss us. And then every time you see us, it seems like it's so much more than what it really is because we stick out. You can see us all the way across town.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where the color scheme came together with the branding. And like you said, we haven't been in business that long. We just started in August. I've taken so much, a lot of good, a lot of bad that I've learned throughout my career. And I will say that the startup I would say is the most challenging for me personally. Just because not even obviously a financial side, you're giving up a lot, you're putting everything to the side to grind it out and put everything into the business. It was a lot for me mentally to go from having over 100, 200 employees to, okay, now what? What do I do? What do I do with my time? So that time has been pushed out into the community. So we went from me working 80 hours a week for the last several years and not really doing anything in our hometown where we're at to it's been 4 months in, and we can't go anywhere without someone knowing who we are. So our stickers of our branding are on every bakery box in our town. We have a little famous bakery shop. We have our sticker on every single box that they push out the doors. We have a little social media group. We meet every Wednesday with 20 or 30 business owners, and we promote each other on social media. We're on week 11 in a row of having an event in our community every single weekend. So we are really out there door knocking, talking to people, shaking hands, kissing babies, dropping by, bringing lunch to businesses. So that's pretty much what I've consumed used to be working in a corporate world hours with here in our community. And it's really paid off. Like, I'm very, very blessed.
So how much you told me y'all are forecasted in your first full calendar year, like y'all will hit 3 million in first year, right?
Oh, yes. Yeah.
And so how much of that will you give credit to for what y'all are doing out in the community?
So I would love to recap this next year and let's see what actually comes to light. But I would say at least 40%. I would say 40% of what we're doing now, because things that, like, I'll give you an example. So when you're out in the community 24/7 and you've done this weeks on weeks, sometimes it's like, oh my gosh, is this even working? Like, sometimes you'll go through weeks and you're like, oh, this is crazy. Like, should I change it up and do something different? In September, I went and brought lunch to the police station here, the local police station. And I brought it to lunch to the dispatchers because, look, smaller business here. There's like 15 dispatchers. There's like 100 police officers. It was way easier to do it that way. The captain actually gave me his cell number because no one had brought lunch to the dispatchers in the office. They always think about the guys in the field. I was able to sit down with the captain and all the dispatchers for about 2 hours here at our local town and just hang out and talk to them. I brought flyers. We give 5% off to first responders, yada, yada, yada. Great time. And that was September. And I was like, I'm glad I did it. I'm grateful for it. But after you do so many and you're like, well, not even one person called, like not even ask a question.
Right.
Um, Sunday we did a change out. And that was from the forensic scientists at the St. Tammany Parish Police Department. Because when we finished up that lunch, they sent our flyer out to every single person in the entire department. So it's going to trickle. So think about that happened in 2 months. We've done thousands of things in the last 4 months.
Yeah.
How is that going to make an impact next year? It's going to be huge.
It compounds, right? And I think that's what people and I think, look, this is I'll throw shade at digital marketing, right? I've got a book coming out at the end of this month, right? Like this is my feeling on digital marketing. Now the subtitle says why building a memorable brand matters more than rankings, but it's frustrating because I think digital marketing has caused people, I coined the term digital heroin. And I think there's a lot of people hooked on digital heroin. They can't get off of it. They need leads, leads, leads. And if they can't get them, then they start spinning out of control and they're willing to pay, whatever. They're blaming their marketing company, whatever it may be, because it's like we've gotten into this world of I want it 5 minutes from now and I want it now. And it's like, well, again, like you said, if there's no demand, well, who's going to give it to you in 5 minutes? Google can't do it. Yelp can't do it. Like they don't make leads up. But what you're talking about in the community, it will continue to compound. It won't be an instant overnight a lot of times. Like you could do a community event. You could, make lemonade or get a food truck and you may be able to get someone to go, you know what, I've been needing to call an air conditioning company. It could work that way, but you have to expect that it will be a trickle effect, but it will continue to compound to where someone's having dinner one night at someone's house and they're like, they have an air conditioning problem. Oh, you should reach out to this company All In, right? Like I'm a dispatcher at the police department and they came by and brought us lunch and I met the owner and she's this amazing person. Like that's the way that stuff works. Google can't do that for you. Like it just doesn't work the same way. But it's hard to have this conversation with some business owners that are so on the digital heroin that you go, look, you got to get out in the community. You got to go shake hands, knock on doors and talk to people. And they're like, what is that return on investment going to be? And it's just like, man, it's a hard conversation to have sometimes.
So that's what we track it. We're tracking it. So we have Service Titan. So we're able to track different campaigns. And it's super exciting to see. And I can't wait to see from a full year. Like we started in great timing here in the South, middle of August, we had like 2.5 weeks of heat and then it's been beautiful since. So that was an interesting turn of events the way we started, but I track it and we ask every single customer, like, where did you hear about us? And we have our different campaigns. Well, I have community events as its own category, just because we're doing so many little things to put them all in one bucket, because I really want to see what the impact was, what the percentage was. I can tell you now, well over 40% of what we've done so far has been community engagement. Are we doing marketing? Absolutely. Are we doing digital? Absolutely. But if you're not mixing your buckets and you're all dependent on one, you're screwed.
Yeah.
You can't do that. Like, and hey, maybe it works for you and you just want to spend all this money, but sometimes you can save money by getting out there in the community, but it's harder. Who wants to spend every weekend out there?
Right.
Okay. Like me and my husband live and breathe this. So thank God we absolutely love it. So it's not work to us. We involve our kids in it. They come, we have a really good time doing it. And it's different when you're like a boutique or like something that somebody wants to see, right? So they're like, oh, all they have around here is like Christmas markets and boutiques. Guess what? In January, we're going to be at a fashion show because we were invited to be set up at a fashion show here in St. Tammany Parish to market my AC business. And you know what? I guarantee you we're going to book at least 4 or 5 leads while we're there. I guarantee you. When we first started, we had a goal every event we went to, let's just book one job. I don't care if I told them it was going to be a free service call. We're just going to come look at it for free. Let's get one. And for the last 5 weeks in a row, we've done 3 to 4 jobs booked at every single community event. The last 2, we've done 6 at each event. And we're at Christmas markets and boutique shops, and our gym had a pop-up shop. And you just got to make it fun.
Yeah.
Get out there, let people see you. Now when we're going, they're like, oh, we seen you at the last one. We seen you at the other one. So guess who they're going to see in their head whenever their AC breaks?
That's right. And that's the thing. Like I tell this story. It happened to me probably about 2 months ago now. And I was coming back from our storage unit that I have, and I had my 12-year-old in the car, but I was in my wife's SUV, and coming down the road, this car slung a rock, and I see it midair. It was like time froze, and I was like, please don't hit the windshield. Please don't hit the windshield. And it hit the windshield. And as soon as it hit, hit it hard and started like the crack started running all the way across. And I'm going through the emotional process, and I'm angry, and I'm thinking about what my wife's about to say to me because I was in her car. And then my 12-year-old, without missing a beat, goes, safe light repair, safe light replace. And I just started laughing, right? And I was no longer angry. And I said, look, that's branding. And if a company can put that jingle in your head when you saw that cracked windshield, when A, you're 4 years away from even driving a vehicle, and B, your mom and dad's never used Safe Light before, then that's what we're trying to do for our clients by making them 5 Mile famous or local celebrities, because you can do it. You just got to get the story right and the frequency right, and you will be what pops into their head. And so all these little things that y'all are doing and talking and getting out to the boutiques and the gyms, like, people will have a problem and they will remember how you and your husband made them feel. And that will pop in their brain, and they're go, I'm going to call that company All In. Right. Yeah. And it's like, some people can't make that connection, I think, because digital marketing has like created this like bullshit idea in people's heads that like it can grow you as much as you want. Just keep dumping more money into it. And it's like I think strong digital results with a brand that no one knows is like got to be the worst thing in the entire world. And people aren't spending enough time on investing into their brand, and their brand doesn't have to, you don't have to be doing 40,000 a month on TV and radio or billboards. Like, it could be what y'all are doing is strengthening your brand. You're creating a brand, and I guarantee you there's air conditioning companies in your market that have been there 7, 8+ years, and y'all have been there 6 or 7 months, and your brand is stronger than those in some people's minds, right? And it's like, well, how did that happen? It's like, well, we went and we earned that brand.
Yep. So when we put the billboards up next year, and when we have the extra money put into the digital marketing, and we have the Google ads, and we're pushing ourselves online even more than what we are now, they're going to know us. They're going to be like, right. Oh, look, that's that company. And like you said, that's, I met her or I met him. That's even now we have, and it's all about who you are too. Like, if you're going out there in the community and the only thing on your head is, I'm going to come out here and I'm going to make some money. I'm here to make some money. You also have to be genuine with it. Like, we love our community. We love supporting our community. We love the people that we've met, the friends that we have here. And it means a lot because we're locally owned. So if you look at the statistics, it says every $100 made from a local business, $45 of that's going back into that community. And that is very true. And push on that. If you're a locally family owned business, push on that. People want to see their communities thrive. We want to see our communities thrive. And we're genuine about that. And that has significantly paid off. We had people comment on our ad the other day, somebody saying like, oh yeah, because I had my bumper fall off on the side of the road, and this guy stopped and helped me. It was actually an AC company, real cute. We had a real interesting conversation when I got home about that. But he commented on the post. He was like, oh, she was awesome. I actually pulled her inside the road to help her because she had an issue with her bumper. Great people. It doesn't matter who it is.
That's
like,
right.
Anywhere you're at. And he was helping me, and I was embarrassed. I had the kids in the car. Like, it was a whole ordeal. And just making sure you're genuine, you're talking to everyone, you're pushing your brand out there. I don't know if he owned the company or if he was a tech there, but he knew all about All In, and we had a great conversation.
Yeah.
So everywhere you go,
we got a future employee.
Right, exactly.
You never know.
Go ahead and comment on it and say, well, we know you're slow, so if you're looking for a job, please call.
Yeah, you had time to help me with my bumper. Come on over in a couple months. All right, what are the plans for All In? Like, where do y'all see the next 3 to 5 years? What are the goals?
So the next 3 to 5 years, we're in it to win it. We're in it to grow. I'm young. My husband's young. Like, I'm only 27. Like, I'm 10 years into this. I started so young. Like, I have so much life ahead of me. My goal is for me to actually retire from working full time by the time I'm 35. So that doesn't mean that I'm not going to be in the business. It just means that my hat will no longer be needed in the business.
Yeah.
So we're going to grow. I guarantee you, my big goal is by 5 years, we'll be at least 15 million. And I think that we're gonna beat that because we're not stopping. We're here to help our community. We're here to support our community. We're here to grow our brand, and we're doing the right thing by people. And that's a really, really big piece. You have a lot of these other companies, they get big and then they lose sight of things, or they get bought out by PE, and then now we're screwing customers over and we're not doing the right thing. If you think putting a process in place to improve your revenue has to come with being unethical, you're completely wrong.
Mm.
It doesn't. It absolutely doesn't. And if your company is leading that direction, you will not continue to thrive. You may see a good year or two, possibly, and then it's going to go downhill. And that's what's happening. We're watching it happen around us with all the different PE companies. It's happening all across the United States. Like, we have to take care of our customers. They're not stupid. And now we have ChatGPT, so they can really fact check you.
Yeah, you're right. I've got a client in Baton Rouge, and they're this is their first year, but they've got big goals and they've got money, and so they're gonna go after a huge brand and do things the right way. And there's a PE group that sits right on the corner from where their office is, and it's like, it's crazy to see in these markets what these PE companies are coming in and doing. And it's like, now you're here now, it's taken a couple years since COVID and we're starting to hear all the horror stories, but it's like, I don't understand the model. Like, what got that company to where it was? And it was so attractive that you wanted to buy it, but then you want to come in and change everything that made it great. You want to take the branding campaigns away. You want to get super aggressive on the sales, tactic sides of it. It's like, well, that's not what built them to this place. So it's just really strange to me. But my clients that are in these markets that are family-owned businesses, I mean, I'm like, hey, you've got an opportunity to go after a market share that wasn't yours, that was locked up by somebody else's.
We've gotten more PE calls by putting a $5 a day Facebook ad up that said, did they tell you they can't fix us? Fix it, give us a call.
Mm.
I cannot tell you how many units we went out to, 7, 8, 9, 10 years old, that it could have been a capacitor. And they were like, oh, yep, compressor's fried. I mean, we had one 2 or 3 weeks ago we went out to, completely empty on refrigerant, like not a single ounce of refrigerant in the system. And he tells her that her compressor's fried. So all my technical people out there, how are you going to verify if a compressor's fried if you have not a single ounce of refrigerant and you blew her main breaker? There's no possible way to tell that. And now guess what? That's our customer.
That's right.
And sometimes they're going to want the patch and the fix right now, but we provide them with all the options. So if down the line it ends up completely going out, she's preparing for that. She knows, and she's going to use us for the replacement.
That's right.
She won't trust anyone else to touch it because we showed her the proof. We showed her the pictures. We did the right thing, and we checked her ductwork too. So do not miss out on that. Like, so many companies don't look at the ductwork.
I mean, honesty and transparency closes more deals and builds more lifetime relationships than anything out there. And that is not the model that PE is taking. Yeah.
I hate it, but I love it.
Yeah, right. You love it for your own business.
Yeah, I hate it for the people. I really do. But it's good for the local business owners around here. Like, all these local business owners, you gotta get on the right ship. Get your processes down pat. Know your numbers. Learn your business to where you can grow, because the business is there. The business is there. They are continuously driving these customers out the door. You need to make sure your door's open and you're ready to take care of them the right way.
You mentioned you said a couple things earlier, like having your chart and making sure that I think you said they wanted it or had the capacity. So it sounded like you're an EOS person, or you've done EOS. Is that the case? Are y'all using it for your own company? And then, like, what advice do you give for someone having some kind of operational system that there's checks and balances there?
So I can be a little bit crazy about processes. I'm definitely a big process person. Like, I have an SOP for everything in the business. And if you read my processes that I have, like our community events process is like 2 or 3 pages. And it's just me and my husband that do these events, no one else. But you would think that I have an entire large team that I got to pass this along to, because we're building for the future. Everything we do, I'm the only one that funds the financing and does the financing, but I got a 2-page process built out for how each plan's done, how it works, how to process everything. Everything that's done in your business, you should be able to take a book for every position, hand it to someone else, and they can at least do a pretty decent job by following along with that.
You're right.
If you don't have that down pat, then every time you do something, it's probably a little bit different, which you're not consistent. That means you're not efficient. That means you're missing pieces, stuff's falling through the cracks. You just can't do that. Like, I went through a lot of trainings. Everybody asked me if I've done EOS, and I haven't.
No.
Like
Okay.
everyone always asks that. I'm a Nexstar baby, so I love Nexstar. I drank the Kool-Aid years and years ago. I absolutely love them. We're not Nexstar company yet. Hopefully in the future they'll have a spot open and we'll join. I did Nexstar for 4 or 5 years, and I just ate it up. Everything about it.
Well, we're to the part of the show where I'm going to do rapid fire questions with Brianna. I'm going to ask you questions and you just shoot from the hip and give me your answer. You ready?
I'm ready.
All right. Who is your childhood hero?
My childhood hero.
It could be a real person. It could be,
Okay, so I do know. I don't know the person's name, which is awful. Excuse me, but when I was in school, as in like elementary school, there was a guy who came to our school, and I grew up in the West Bank of New Orleans, pretty rough area. Well, this guy came. He grew up there. He came to our school, and he talked to us, and he said that he came from the same place we came. He talked about his parents. They didn't have much, didn't have utilities, that whole 9 yards. He had built and grown a multi-million-dollar business, and he was there to show us that you can do it no matter where you came from. And that stuck with me throughout my entire childhood, my entire life. And I give that 100% to a big piece of who I am today, because I came from both my parents were addicts. We grew up in poverty. We didn't have a whole lot. And I strive to be the person that I didn't think was possible. And he showed me that that was possible.
and it's unfortunate that you don't know who it is.
I know. And the school doesn't have record. I called them and asked them, but I
Uh,
applied to all the local schools to do the same thing he did for me to the other kids in our area. So
do you remember what kind of business he did?
he reminded me so much of, it was like he was a motivational power speaker. Like he goes all across the United States and speaks at different places. It's eating me up more than not lately. I'm going to have to figure out how I can find out who this
Well,
is.
I hope you do figure that out. A famous person that you would like to have dinner with and pick their brain. They could be dead or alive.
They could be dead or alive. Hmm. That is a good one. I did not prepare for these questions. Um, I thought about that right before I got on. I was like, I wonder if he does something crazy. A famous person that I would like to have dinner with. I honestly don't know. I'm not big into I can't think of anyone off the top of my head, honestly.
Maybe somebody that's impacted you in the past, or an actress or someone that you just find interesting and that you would just like to sit and pick their brain.
Hmm. What I would have to say Maxwell. He's still alive, but that's been a big idol for me. I learned so much from him.
Okay.
Definitely Maxwell. Yeah, I didn't think about him like that.
All right. What is something surprising that most people don't know about you?
So I'm actually a little bit of a nerd, and I play video games probably 5 nights a week typically. But now, obviously not 5 nights a week now, but we still try to make sure we at least get 3 nights in, even if it's for 30 minutes. And the most ridiculous game in the world, which is Fortnite.
Hey, I play it too with my boys. So
Do you really? My son got me into it, and now I guarantee you I play more than he does.
yeah, I'm like 4 years in with them now. And yeah, I mean, just last weekend, I think it was, they're like, come on, Dad, there's an update. You're gonna come see the.
Yeah.
I'm like, all right.
I'm pretty good. I've done beat all the neighborhood kids in there. I'm like, are you going to tell your friends that your friend's mom beat you in Fortnite?
If you had to make a sudden career change right now, what would it be?
I would pursue law.
Yeah, I was about to say. I was going to say lawyer. I
Yeah.
feel like I knew that one.
Yeah.
I actually, one of my teachers in high school is a professor at Loyola.
Really?
He's a law professor there.
That's awesome. Yeah,
Yeah.
that was a big dream of mine. It's interesting. I still get to experience a lot of law with my whole family situation.
Okay.
So that's fun. That's interesting. And in the PE world, there's a lot of lawsuits and stuff. So I was able to be the corporate rep for that because I really do enjoy it. Like I love HVAC more, but if I had to make a change, 100% it'd be law.
Yeah. And then the last question I like to ask is, what is Brianna's beliefs in aliens?
So I just don't even like to think about it. I'm like such a scary person. Like I can't watch any scary movies, like nothing like that. So I can't even think about it. I believe in God. God changed my life. Like if there's aliens, he's gonna keep them far away from me.
I love it. I love the answer. Well, Brianna, I appreciate you coming on and sharing your uh, long career in such a very short amount of time. I cannot believe you're 27 years old.
I know.
Yeah, that's wild. So
I used to
thank
hide it.
you. What's that?
I used to hide my age. Like when I hit 25, I'm like half of 50. I'm an adult. I can tell people how old I am now.
Well, you've done some amazing things. I wish you guys the best of luck, and I'll have you back on in the future and hear how that first year went.
Yeah, for sure. I'm excited for it. Thank you for having me. Appreciate you letting us outreach all in and our story. So it definitely means a lot. We'll see you next year.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye.